Benjamin Nnamdi Azikiwe. Nnamdi Azikiwe, nicknamed Zik, was a foremost nationalist, journalist, Panafricanist, political activist, and a statesman. He was born on November 16, 1904, in Zungeru, formerly the capital city of the British Protectorate of Northern Nigeria. His mother and father gave him the name Benjamin. However, he later changed it to Nnamdi to affirm his African identity and cultural heritage. His father, Obed-Edom Chukwuemeka Azikiwe, worked in the colonial civil service, exposing young Nnamdi to Nigeria's diverse cultures and regions. Azikiwe was educated at the Church Missionary Society Central School at Onitsha, the Methodist Boys High School in Lagos, and the Hope Waddell Training Institute in Calabar. Between 1921 and 1924, Azikiwe worked as a clerk for the Nigerian Treasury in Lagos. His time in the colonial service exposed him to racial bias in the colonial government. In 1925, Azikiwe traveled to the United States to pursue further studies, where he was deeply influenced by ideas of black empowerment, civil rights, and anti-colonialism. He attended Storer College and then Howard, Lincoln, Pennsylvania, and Columbia universities, where he studied anthropology, religion, economics, political science, and journalism. Between 1932 and 1934, Azikiwe became a graduate student instructor in the History and Political Science department at Lincoln University, during which he developed a syllabus for the study of African history. He also wrote the book Liberia in World Politics, 1934, in defense of Black Republic. As an ardent nationalist as well as a Pan-Africanist, Azikiwe returns to Nigeria in 1937 after a 3-year sojourn to the Gold Coast, now Ghana, where he began his journalistic career by founding and editing a highly influential newspaper, African Morning Post, which he quickly made into an important organ of nationalist propaganda to challenge colonial rule. Upon returning to Nigeria, Nnamdi Azikiwe engaged politically by using journalism as a powerful tool to promote nationalism and political awareness. He became the editor of the West African Pilot, a newspaper he founded and which became a leading voice against colonial rule and for African self-determination. Through his writings, Azikiwe criticized British colonial policies and advocated for African unity, self-government, and civil rights. In the same year, Nnamdi Azikiwe joined the Nigerian Youth Movement (NYM), whose core goal was to achieve self-determination and challenge colonial rule through a more organized and unified approach than previous nationalist movements. In 1942, Azikiwe, together with Herbert Macaulay, founded the National Council of Nigeria in the Cameroons (NCNC), a political party which became a significant force advocating for self-rule and representing various ethnic groups in Nigeria. In 1948, with the backing of the National Convention of Nigeria and the Cameroons, Azikiwe was elected to the Nigerian Legislative Council. He later served as the premier of the Eastern region, where he worked to develop infrastructure and education. Nnamdi Azikiwe was a key negotiator in constitutional conferences in London that shaped Nigeria's path to independence. His eloquence, Pan-African ideals, and leadership helped galvanize nationalist sentiments across the country. On 1st October 1960, Nigeria was granted independence from Great Britain, and Azikiwe was appointed the first indigenous Governor-General of Nigeria in 1960. And later the first president of Nigeria when it achieved Republican status in 1963. Throughout his political career, Azikiwe focused on educational development and national unity, founding the University of Nigeria at Nsukka to promote a common identity among Nigerians. Beyond Nigeria, Azikiwe was a committed Pan-Africanist who believed in the unity and solidarity of all African peoples. Through his political activism, journalism, and leadership, Azikiwe championed African unity, self-determination, and the end of colonial rule. He was a vocal advocate for the solidarity of African peoples, believing that the continent's strength lay in cooperation and shared identity. His involvement in early Pan-African conferences and his influence in shaping Nigeria's foreign policy helped foster connections among newly independent African states. He supported the formation of the Organization of African Unity (OAU) and advocated for peaceful coexistence and collaboration among African states. Through his words and political actions, Azikiwe promoted the vision of a united, independent, and self-reliant Africa, earning him a lasting place among the pioneers of Pan-Africanism. Despite his achievements, Azikiwe's tenure as president of Nigeria was marked by political rivalries and ethnic tensions, particularly between the Igbo and Yoruba groups. His calls for equitable resource distribution and national reconciliation were challenged by the complexities of Nigerian society, culminating in a military coup in 1966, which triggered a civil war between the government and the secessionist state of Biafra. The war, which lasted from July 1967 to January 1970, resulted in significant casualties and had a lasting impact on Nigeria.
The Igbo and non-Igbo people now living outside of what is left of former eastern Nigeria, that is Biafra, are safe and secure in their persons and property as citizens of one united country, where all its nationals shall be treated as social equals and where there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens and inhabitants. There is no tangible reason for the civil war to continue one day longer.
Following the conflict, Azikiwe shifted his focus towards reunification efforts and continued to influence Nigeria's political landscape. However, between 1978 and 1983, Nnamdi Azikiwe re-entered active politics. He became the presidential candidate of the Nigerian People's Party (NPP), a political party he helped establish to restore democratic governance after years of military rule. Although he contested the 1979 presidential election and lost to Shehu Shagari of the National Party of Nigeria (NPN), Azikiwe remained a prominent opposition figure, advocating for national unity, good governance, and constitutional democracy. He contested again in the 1983 presidential election, but was unsuccessful. Nnamdi Azikiwe retired from active politics following the second military coup that overthrew the civilian government of President Shehu Shagari in December 1983. He spent his later years as an elder statesman, respected for his contributions to Nigeria's independence and nation-building efforts. Nnamdi Azikiwe died at the age of 91 on May 11, 1996, at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Enugu, from an unknown illness. He was buried in his native Onitsha. As one of the continent's foremost nationalist leaders, Nnamdi Azikiwe would be most remembered for his pioneering role in the fight against colonialism and his advocacy for African unity and self-determination. Indeed, his legacy endures in his vision for a democratic, inclusive, and independent Nigeria.